has very unnatural skating strides. And then the other thing is he's, for a big guy, he's not physical. I mean, when he tries to lay a check on somebody, he just really, awkwardly falls off of him. It's hard to watch. And so he's got great skill. He's got great hockey sense. Like, you could see it in the offensive zone when he's not taking lazy penalties like he did in Vegas the other day. Like, watching him in Vegas the other day and watching the game against, not Anaheim because they lost that game, Columbus. I saw a couple plays there. He's got great, almost quick instincts offensively from the offensive blue line in, but from the offensive blue line back, which, by the way, I'm not a math major, but that's the largest part of the sheet of ice. That's a problem. He is a problem. And so they are going to have to, what you hope, and I talked to Pierre McGuire about this in my story, and I put it in the story, is what you hope is that if they're going to continue to play him with Zach Parise, that he's going to be complemented by Zach's work ethic and feed off that energy. And, even Carolina fans have tweeted me in the last couple of days, like, you really have to put him with two fast, energetic wingers, or he's going to really stand out. And so I'm not sure I like this trade. I don't think it's going to be a good one for the Wild. And, I agree the Wild have to get younger up the middle, but I think they have to get faster up the middle. He doesn't make them faster. He seems like a great guy, by the way. But it concerns me that a slow group up the middle, although Eric played really fast the other night and is starting to play fast again. But Koivu, Stahl, who are veterans, and now you add Rask. That's just you're pretty slow up the middle, and this is a team that if you're going to compete with the upper echelon teams in the West, I think you got to get faster.
Let's hear from Michael about his time with Pierre McGuire. First, let's thank Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent. He works out of Champlin. It's Hoaglund. Google him. He's great to work with. Michael and I both use his services and have enjoyed working with him and his sponsorship of many shows across this network.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
So what was it like to watch the game with Pierre?
Pretty much like listening to him on TV. He's kind of the same passionate guy. And I just found it fascinating. I know that everybody is like, you either love him or hate him type thing with Pierre. But he's always been great to me, has treated me with unbelievable respect. And so he came to the game and he was just there kind of as a fan. And I'm like, why don't you sit up in the press box and sit next to me and I can kind of like pick your brain and to be it's kind of, again, like I mentioned, the cliched trade stories that you hate to write sometimes. Look, there are 82 games, and this I thought would be a different way to write a game story, and so I was able to sit there with Pierre to my left and kind of pick his brain throughout the game and listen to some of the things that he picked up on and kind of weave it into a game story that was pretty that captured a pretty entertaining game. And again, had Pierre talking about the greenways of the world and where the Wild can go in this season, and him talking about guys like Parise and things like that. So it was a fun afternoon to kind of sit with him. Somebody that we also, it's a different perspective for him. He's always in between the benches and always kind of gets to see the action at 200-300 miles per hour at ice level. Now all of a sudden he's up top, where it's slow, but he's able to see the game evolve. So I think it was fun for him, and it turned out to be a pretty cool story for me.
Let's buzz through a few Twitter questions. Russo's Filter, what's the biggest thing that fans go nuts over that is actually irrelevant? Line combinations, captaincy, UFA, trade rumors, question marks.
Probably line combinations because they always change.
Right.
Definitely. And again, with the line combinations right now, Bruce is just... He's not the GM. He's been given these players. Rask was put on his team to not play the fourth line. Aberg was put on the team to help the power play. Hunt was put on the team to play. But what this always does is disrupts other things. So now all of a sudden Greenway's not on the power play anymore. Cunning's not on the power play anymore. But this is, I know everybody was like, I was looking at Twitter and everybody was trashing Boudreaux for moving Charlie Coyle to the right wing. He didn't make the trade. They traded for a center. Stahl and Koivu are not moving to center. If Charlie Coyle is going to be a top 6 or 9 forward, he had to move back to right wing. Yes, it stinks because he was playing well there, but Rask was put to be the third line center on this team. So, he's just doing what the GM is looking for.
From NH, how come the Wild couldn't at least also get a draft pick in the Nino trade?
I think it probably had to do with the fact that they were taking on a ton more salary than the Wild were taking.
Right.
And so if they got a draft pick, probably Carolina was saying, well, then you got to retain salary, and the Wild were able to get out of this without retaining salary. Yeah, I agree. I would have tried to get even a 5th rounder, 6th rounder, but hey, I mean, I don't know what the conversations are like. I can tell you, I do think the Wild were trying to trade Nino for months, but this one happened really quickly. Like from my Carolina sources, I hate to say it like this, but they couldn't get off the phone fast enough. So, it was a fast conversation. I do think that probably management. I know that the management here has not been the new management has not been a fan of what they're watching with Nino, and I don't think they're a fan of, by the way, what they're watching with Zucker and Boudreaux as well, or Granlund as well. But I think that watching that Philadelphia game and how bad that Stahl, Greenway, and Niederreiter line was in Philadelphia, especially in their offensive zone, I think probably made them lose their mind, and then they were just like, all right, we're getting rid of Nino now. This is just not working. And he hasn't had a good year. It's that simple. He has not been good. And so, I get that part. What stinks is that you got to take a contract like Rask back.
Right. For Mark, the Wild have few, if any, elite players. Is the possibility of a 3-for-1 trade? Does that kind of a possibility exist to acquire a much-needed number 1 center and number 1 scoring wing?
That would be total conjecture, and those trades are so hard to make, and usually don't happen at the trade deadline. They're ones that need to be kind of organized in the off season. But I agree. I mean, the Wild need to figure out a way to get that future number 1 center. They need to get more game breakers. They need to figure out long-term solution at goaltending. I think I mentioned a month ago on the podcast that Alex Stalock was close to an extension. He's still very, very close to an extension. That'll get done, a multi-year extension. That'll get done soon. But long-term solution as a number 1 goalie, I mean, Dubnyk has only got a couple years left, and right now, we're assuming that Kaapo Kakkonen can be the guy, but we don't know that. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, even Fenton the other day when I asked him said, like, I don't know. I mean, he's playing well for the last couple months, but it's way too early to call him the quote-unquote goalie of the future.
Right. From Kyle Muchez, I hope I'm getting your name right, Muchez, on Edmonton, how did Chiarella last so long?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's been a disaster there. He took a situation that should have been an easy one to turn into a juggernaut, and he just effed it up. Taylor Hall for Adam Larson, straight up disaster. Traded the MVP of the league last year. The Lucic extension, the trade of Jordan Eberle for Ryan Strome, and then you trade Strome for Spooner, and then you put Spooner on waivers the other day. Firing coaches left and right. And then a day before he's fired, they let him give a guy that's played barely in net a contract extension worth $4.5 million per, which is more money than any other defenseman make. It absolutely makes no sense that they allowed him to execute that contract a day before being fired. So this guy deserved to be fired. He took a situation where he is the best player in the world and one of the other best players in the world in Leon Draisaitl, and he completely screwed it up with a team that sometimes is unwatchable. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there and who becomes the next GM.
Great stuff, Michael. Packed show, and we hope we'll have another packed show on Monday night at Delano's Pizza, 6 o'clock, downtown location, right there on 4th Street by Ramp C. I'm not even going to ask you for a final thought because you already gave us a million thoughts. Great stuff. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on Monday.
Awesome.
Pretty little city the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice, and I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
Like we all know, I'm not a winner.